Peace and Friendship Hall in your picture, and now we're inside for this final competition. A very good afternoon to you. Alongside me, David Morgan, 7-time Commonwealth gold medalist, and these are the big men in the back room. Plus 105 kilos, that means more than 231 pounds, more than 16.5 stone, and there are men here who are a lot more than that, David. Here they are, these are the finalists. Representing Iran, this is Rezazdeh, the Asian champion. From Qatar, Saeed Salem Jabbar, recently a Bulgarian. Norway's big hope, Sten Grimseth from Fjorde. Kim Tae-hun, 3 times Asian champion, 6 times winner of the Asianships. Ronnie Weller, the world record holder at 465 kilos. Danilan Arshot Danyan, the European champion. Igor Khalilov, runner-up in last year's Asian Games. And Gennady Krasnilnikov, 3rd in this year's European Snatch Championships. And Vardanian of Armenia. Victor Sherbatis, 3rd in the world last year, 3rd also in Europe. And now the biggest man of all, 3 times world champion, Andrei Chemyrkin. Well, a real buzz around the stadium. I have to say that a lot more seats have filled up in the last hour. It's not as packed as it was for the Dimas and Kakishvilis when 8,000 people packed in here. There you can see the all-time best list, 205.5, the Snatch world record held by Ronnie Weller, set in Germany in Riesa in 1998.
So the first man on the platform is Halilov, coming in here on 180 kilos, just a touch under 400 pounds. Takes his hands right to the end of the bar.
Yeah, 27 years of age, from Bukhara, representing Uzbekistan. 4 Europeans, 2 from the Middle East, 4 from Asia. Line up. Actually, there's 5 from Europe because they added Sten Grimseth to the start list quite late on. Now, just to give you some idea, Chemyrkin, the last man you saw on the presentation line up there, weighing in today at 181.72 kilos. Now that, well, it's 400 pounds in one currency. In currency back home in the UK, 28.5 stone. But in this group is Krasilnikov of the Ukraine, and he weighed in at 118 kilos. He's the lightest man, which translates to 18 stone. So it's an enormous difference. Incidentally, Chemyrkin has put on a bit of weight since last year in Lahti, when he weighed in at 177.61. And I thought, although there were reports that he put on a lot more kilos than that, but he's still huge. So 180 kilos. The world record for this, of course, by Ronnie Weller, 205.5 kilos. So it'll be a while, I think, before we see Ronnie Weller. Tremendous weeks lifting here. And we're all hoping that we're going to go out with a really cracking competition. It's 2 years virtually since Ronnie Weller and Chemyrkin met. And Ronnie Weller, who most times has been beaten by Chemyrkin, particularly in the Olympic Games. 2 years ago in Riesa, he turned the tables big time, and that was interesting, David, because if you remember, he not only destroyed him physically, but he destroyed him mentally before that, and really got a fantastic success.
Yes, of course, Ronnie Weller had the home crowd behind him as well.
Here, well, there's a huge, well, that's an exaggeration, isn't it? But there's a really good group of Russian supporters way over to the left as you look at that picture, and they're all there with Russian flags. The Russians who haven't had a world champion either in the women's division or the men's division at these championships, and they've placed all their hopes now on big Andrei Ivanisovich Chermyrkin.
Yes, it's a shame there's no Greek lifters in this class, because I'm sure if there was, the auditorium would be a lot more packed.
Yeah, I've never seen an audience this big for a weightlifting competition. The other night for Dimas, 8,000, which is the absolute inside capacity. We're using half of the Peace and Friendship Stadium, which is more often than not used as a basketball court, and there were 4,000 locked outside, and that night in Greece, the TV ratings the following morning showed that 48% of the audience share had gone to the Greek national broadcaster for their coverage of Pyrrhus Dimas. It's a measure of the man's popularity right across the country. And remember, you're talking about a country where the population's 9 million.
Yes, I think it underlines the fact that we need stars. It doesn't really matter what sport it is. If you've got somebody who's a star in their own right, people will pay money to come and see them.
Here's Halilov of Uzbekistan, so 185 kilos. Third and final attempt. He's got 180, so he's secured that. He's not under pressure in terms of getting a total. Well, that's it's disappointing because he's capable of 187.5, and that miss second time around has rather knocked him off his game plan. But very early days in this competition.
Yes, settled down a bit for this third lift. Gave it 100%, and as you say, David, it's a shame that he didn't have a final lift left to go for that 187.5.
Now, this is Kim Tae-yun of Korea, 30 years of age, 190 kilos his opening lift. He's a man of immense talent, but he's coming back from rather a long absence at top international level. And 190 kilos, this man who has lifted that before now in the Olympic Games. He lifted 190.
Been looking fantastic in the training room all week. Really gets a good pull on the bar. Lovely positioning. And he'll certainly go further than that.
Yes, 3 times Asian Games champion and 6 times winner of the Asian Championships. But you've got to go back to 1991 in the World Championship record book to find his only medals at this level where, you know, the best in the world really confront each other. Got a couple of bronze medals then. One for the clean and jerk and the other for the total. So this is an area in which he hasn't succeeded until now. Whilst we were away from you, I can tell you that Saeed Salem Jabber from Qatar, formerly from Bulgaria, better known to certainly Bulgarians as Yanni Marchokov, actually opened up on 190 kilos, which was rather lower than we were expecting. And Steen Grimseth, he got that lift, by the way, and Steen Grimseth of Norway, who also opened up to 190, failed his attempt. So it's Jabber, by virtue of light body weight, 118 kilos, who's in the lead from Kim of Korea.
But this, the lightest man in the competition, coming in on 192.5. Krasilnikov. So that's the lead.
And it's the light men, I should say, leading at the moment. Jabber drops down to second, Kim to the bronze medal position, but early days. Remember the Skibatis, the Latvian, Vardanian of Armenia, Ronnie Weller, and of course Danilin of Armenia, and Chermyrkin yet to start. So Very early days in this competition. Vardanian it should be. And there's quite a fan club for this man. Last year in the World Championships, actually won the snatch gold medal, was third in the clean and jerk and second overall. So if he's improved, not to be discounted. And they're stamping their feet and they're really making a noise, the Armenians. Really making their presence felt. And they're a long, long way from the stage. It's really set back here. So you have to scream and shout if you want to make your man hear that you're there for him.
So 195. And this again will take the lead.
Weighed in at 137 kilos. Good speed, put it in the right place. Nice opener. Very positive start, that.
Yes, still 5 athletes to start, and we're already within 10.5 kilos of that world standard.
Yes, normally 10.5 kilos would sound eternity, but we are dealing with the biggest men. And now Skerbatis. Well, this is a man who won a good super heavyweight competition in Fjorday, in the hometown of Sten Grimseth, who's in today's competition. It's a special super heavyweight event held every May up in Norway, and all the big boys go. And he was a bit of a surprise winner, but they all enjoyed the trip and they're all looking forward to going back next season. Well, no worries there.
Yes, you can, of course, email us live, and we'll try and answer your questions live on air. The email address is www.weightlifting.de.
Yeah, we've got 1 or 2 answers for you as well to earlier messages that you kindly sent us.
So the man on stage now, the biggest man in the competition, weighing in at over 400 pounds. Andrei Chemurkin opening with a snatch of 195 kilos.
Yeah, for a pole. He's now 27 years of age. He's been in the sport for 12 years. And interestingly enough, Chemurkin often does this, takes a fairly straightforward weight and then looks to build on it. But we've seen Ronnie Weller. He's in good shape. We think that he's prepared certainly to go for a new world record in the snatch. But of course this man can make the difference in the clean and jerk. He's quite a jolly chap. He's very approachable. A lot of these people think that, oh, you couldn't possibly go up and, you know, see him, but he's actually a jolly giant, really, Chemurkin, and he really enjoys it. He's not stuffy at all. Now, Sten Grimseth, this is the man I was talking about a few minutes ago, who is the host of the Sten Grimseth Super Heavyweight Cup. The idea to have an annual mean man fight amongst all the big bad boys.
Well, he missed his opening attempt on 190, but has decided to carry on with his game plan and go ahead with 195.
But when you're in this sort of situation, I think you've got to be brave. And if he's going to get anything out of this competition, it's going to be in the snatch. And that's good. One of his big moments coming 3 years ago when he took the European snatch gold in Stavanger in Norway. But as I said, he's had a lot of injuries. He's missed an awful lot of international competitions.
Yes, so managing to hang on to that 195. And still has 1 lift left to possibly go further.
The world's top 4 lifters in the lineup today. And this is Danielian of Armenia, who's in the number 2 slot as a result of his efforts in La Coruña, in Spain, in May, when he became the European champion. Only Chemurkin is higher than him in this year's rankings. Now he snatched 202.5 kilos in Spain. Just corrected.
Strong enough, just not quite putting the bar in the right place, pulling the shoulders back in the first phase, and then the momentum created from that pull, just too much for him to hold on to.
Well, Bruce from America, I gather you were watching us the other day over in Iceland. Glad to hear you were enjoying the coverage. You asked about the weightlifting, if it'll be seen in America. Well, the good news is that our colleagues over in ESPN, well, they'll be showing a highlight show on the 11th of January. I'm not sure of the time, but I'm sure you can look at it in the TV guide over there, and I hope you enjoy that. The best from the championships on the 11th of January.
So back to the lightest man in the competition, also taking 197.5. Now that isn't strictly a lift yet. The bar has to go past the knees.
And he's got 15 seconds. You can see the clock there.
I can see his problem. These bars very, very sharp. His hands are very, very heavily taped, deciding to take the tape off. He's obviously torn some skin, so it's very much a psychological thing now. Ignore the pain.
The time was against him there.
Well, fair play to him. He picked the weight off the floor, and his hands obviously hurting. He must have ripped calluses off, but he went back and made a pretty good attempt.
Yeah, we've talked all week actually about this Japanese equipment which they're lifting on here. These bars are very sharp. You can see there the rip on there, and that really is painful. If you've ever done that, and we all have at some time, it really stings, and you just got to put that out of your mind.
Yes, so David, weightlifting not just about strength, it's also about technique, putting the weights in the right place, using your body in the right way, and it's also psychological. When something like this happens in a major competition, what do? His hand's no weaker. It's just a question of going on the platform, ignoring the pain, and just going through with it anyway.
One of the doctors, Mr. Irani from Great Britain, he was saying to us he never ever seen so much tape and bandaging at a world championships, or any championships for that matter, as he's seen here, because of the equipment and the damage that it's been doing to their hands. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way against equipment. I'm not suggesting that at all, but it does happen when you get new equipment, and the our Greek hosts here, the Hellenic Weightlifting Federation, have spared no expense in that department. They've set out a training hall which has got a magnificent array of 38 platforms and brand new weights, and it's all new, so these things happen.
Yes, of course. In training, these men are not used to training on new bars, and they also use leather straps in the gym, so new bars, no straps, it's going to cause problems.
Well, he's on stage to follow himself again, Krasilnikov, last chance, and he's gone up to 197.5.
Yes, and this is significant because he's the lightest man. So if he does this, all other athletes will have to do at least 200 kilos to beat him. So it's quite significant.
Oh, that's great. That's a really good recovery. That's excellent. When you've gone through all that, he's done exactly what you said. He's put it out of his mind, whatever he felt, and that's brilliant. So he goes up from 5th to 1st.
Yes, putting the pain out of his head, concentrating on the job at hand.
And it's an important mark because he's overtaken the man who snatched the biggest number of kilos in the B ranking competition earlier today, which was Sergei Flerko of Russia. Now representing Iran, this is Hossein Rezazdeh, the 99 Asian, and got a bronze medal in last year's Asian Games in Bangkok. So clearly useful. relatively inexperienced, only 21 years of age.
Useful, I'd say, starting with 200 kilos. This is just 5.5 kilos below the world standard. Ronnie Weller, of course, still to open. Strength's not the problem there.
Well, I was going to say, one other fact I was holding back for, he is also the junior world record holder in the clean and jerk. So it may well be that his greatest strength is going to be in the second department of this competition. But first of all, he's got to get a valid lift here. The world record holder for the Snatch achieved that in front of his own home German crowd in Riesa. 30 years of age, he's here with his father Gunther, with Frank Mantek, the head coach, and also his guru, Eugen Fröhlich, in the corner. And we're 10 years on from the last time he was successful in Athens. Let's see how he opens up now.
Well, again, David, not strength not being the problem.
Well, 10 years ago, David, in the World Championships here, he won the gold medal in the snatch. He was lifting in a lighter weight at that particular time. But in the clean and jerk, he actually injured his knee. And that was a problem. And then, as if that wasn't, but that was the year when he had that terrible, terrible car crash in which his girlfriend was so sadly killed, and Ronnie really badly injured.
This is an interesting lifter. Came in at 190 kilos. I've been watching him all week in the training room, and he really has looked fantastic.
Yeah, Marchokov of Bulgaria as was, Saeed Salem Jabbar as he is now. And certainly 200 is within his...
Well, he's been snatching world records in the gym all week. I saw him do 207.5, no less than 3 times.
Oh, there it is. And if he hadn't managed to catch the significance of this man, one of 8, plus some coaches who were transferred from Bulgaria just 2.5 weeks ago to Qatar for $1 million, so we understand. A lot for Bulgaria, not so much for Qatar, and he can go further.
Yeah, I like this super heavyweight. He's not carrying any body fat. Fantastic technique. He's a real athlete, and he's now in the lead.
And the Bulgarians already with some reward from this transfer deal, with Tanev having taken the 77 gold medal here at these championships.
I must say, David, the depth in this super heavyweight class is probably as good as it's ever been.
I think it is, and it's great to see it, because we've been waiting for some years for some new people to really arrive on the scene. Here's one man who's been around for a long time, but he really is in some problem to compete with these. He's gone 190, 200, again a big lift, but he needed to get that in. Well, this man, either he's hired them, he's brought them with him, but there's an amazing noise coming from behind our shoulders. They're high above us in the cheap seats. There they are, quick view of them, but they're all Armenia. He's got the whole team here.
So this would put him into the silver medal position, if successful.
He's looking very, very strong. Thank you, he says, and he directs that straight to Armenia. Clearly he's come on, he's now gone past last year's figures of 197.5 for the snatch, as we see Skerbatis of Latvia. But he came in at 195, so this is a more modest increase. He's taking it in gentle steps. Mind you, the look on those faces is more one of anxiety and worry than confidence.
Well, coaching's a very nerve-wracking, tiring job. You think the athletes have got it hard, try coaching.
Well, he was so close.
Yes, managed to pull the bar to locked arms, but wasn't quite in the right position underneath it.
200 is at the upper levels of his range, I have to say. But he should have actually got that. Guess who? The policeman from Russia.
Yes, this platform needs to be strong to take him and the weight, doesn't it?
Yeah. Don't know if his wife's here, Olga. He's got a young son, 5 years old now, Ivan. And his father, also called Ivan, looks after the responsibility for massaging this big man into top condition. Oh. Pick that up like a paper.
Yes, and he's being more sensible, he's being more conservative. If you remember in previous competitions, he started light, taking big jumps. In this competition, just taking small jumps, trying to keep in there with the leaders of the field, knowing that his great strength is in the clean and jerk.
Mind you, because of his immense body weight, he's only in third place. It's still Jabber for Qatar, ahead of Vardanyan of Armenia, then Shemerkin of Russia, all three on 200. And the next man in line is Krasilnikov. Now Danielin for Armenia.
Yes, missed 197.5 on his first, but has decided that he wants 200.
Pressure of the type you don't invite now, because he's just one more attempt. If he fails that, he's got no total. So we've got one Armenian who's looking very, very good, Vardanyan, and the other who's in serious trouble. And at 200 kilos, remember, we are now just 5.5 kilos away from the world record.
I don't think I've ever seen so many men attempt 200 kilos.
Now, the junior world record holder for the clean and jerk. And this is 200 kilos, so just this would be a new junior world record, just looking at his age. He's 21. So I don't think that would qualify. It depends exactly when his birthday was. But 200 kilos, and he's done it. And he's 146.95 kilos, which means he's lighter than Shemerkin, but heavier than Vardanyan, who is in second place. So he moves up to bronze medal, and Shemerkin's down to fourth.
And we now have 4 men on 200 kilos.
Unbelievable. Ronnie Weller, at the moment, down in 10th place, a failure. Now, must get this. This is the sort of pressure, David, that Mark Huster faced in the 85 kilo category, if you remember, in the snatch, that he missed one at a crucial moment and then made his 177.5 kilos in the third and final lift. But Vela here under real pressure. Plenty of time. There's Frank Mantek. And he's in real problems, because even if he'd lifted that, that still put him in fourth place. Now he's got a real problem here, because does he go for broke? and really push the bar up and go for it in one lift.
No, I think they'll keep him at 200 kilos. The Germans are very sensible in their coaching, and what you've got to remember is that Weller is known for his strength in the clean and jerk. Has a personal best of 260. So, you know, it's just a question of staying in the competition and staying, you know, amongst the leaders.
The only thing that concerns me about what you just said is the fact that he got injured in the Europeans, and we know for a fact that he was feeling fairly confident about the snatch, but was slightly concerned about the kilos that he would have to lift in the clean and jerk and the effect that would have on him. So I think he's a man in trouble at the moment, and Mantek's got an awful lot of work to do. Now this is Steen Grimseth. Decent lift in. This is his third and final attempt, and it's not a good one.
No, just too heavy. Not strong enough to gain enough height on the bar. So he finishes on 195.
By the way, just another thank you to Saeed from London. I'm glad you enjoyed Shaharinia's success in the 85 kilo competition the other night. If you're with us today, then stay with us, because we've got a few highlights coming up from that competition in the half-time break here in the super heavyweights. Now this is Kim Tae-yun, down in 8th place at the moment. He's failed this weight once. He's taking a 10 kilo increase.
This really needs to work hard in the pull phase. So that's a disappointment.
Well, it's a big disappointment, because he's dropped way back down to 190 kilos, and that's actually lower than two men who lifted earlier in the B ranking group, so it really knocks him back, and he's just going to have to try and do his best in the clean and jerk to achieve a respectable score at the end of the day. Final day of the championships here. It's incredible to think, David, not today, but the previous 3 days, we've had over 20,000 spectators in the hall over the 3 days. I think that's unprecedented in any World Weightlifting Championship, or indeed in any major championship, because even the Olympics, I don't think the auditoriums are that large to take that sort of crowd. Gives you an idea of the popularity of one man, but it also, to be fair, gives you an idea of the place of the sport in Greek sports. Up there with, certainly. Skarbatis, just a little hesitation before he launched it over. Or drove up, I should say, to be more accurately, but he's done it. He's not looked, to me, terribly convincing, but he makes now the 5th man on 200.
Yes, gets plenty of height on the bar. Just stays down there, just to make sure his positioning's just right.
And it's Jabber, Skarbatis, Vardanian. And now, as you said, absolutely correct, David. Conservative control. Let's not lose it for the sake of one lift. Let's get this 200. However, that's Mark Huster with our colleague Ron Ringuth just alongside us there, watching anxiously, Mark. As much as Mantek's really, I think he's probably got butterflies in his stomach now. Hasn't been in this situation for a while. Certainly not one I can remember. "15 seconds. A lot of fingers are crossed. 10. Oh.
Well, I was talking to Mark Huster yesterday about Ronnie Weller, and I asked him, and Mark said that, you know, after sustaining that injury...
Well, there is Mark, hand over face, really feeling it for his teammate.
Yes, he said after sustaining the injury that he had psychological problems, and looking at that...
I mean, of course, he can and will, I'm sure, lift in the clean and jerk, but then he's going for a consolation prize. And I think he may well get a medal, but I think Chemurkin, he's in some sort of form, as we've already seen. And, of course, that failure has taken pressure again, because he's come in just at 202.5. And, again, as you said earlier, he's not being extravagant. He's being intelligent. Now 202.5 would give him the lead, but then Jabber's got a lift to come, and so has Vardanian, and so has Rezazadeh of Iran.
And of course,
Arshot
of Armenia.
Oh! So what's happening here? What is happening here? No medal for the big man, not in this division. But he has, of course, got 200, so his quest for the best overall total is still a possibility. But it just shows you, David, you can be big, you can be the heaviest, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll lift the greatest weight.
Well, the man in the lead at the moment, the second lightest man in the competition, Jabber.
Well, I tell you, this would be absolutely amazing if Qatar, well, Qatar are going to get a medal out of this.
So the man on now, he's failed with 197.5, failed with 200, now opting to go to 202.5.
Well, he wasn't far the way, but he becomes the second man in this group to fail to register a score, and so he, like Ronnie Weller, is left only with the clean and jerk as a target now.
Well, the bar is being raised to 205 kilos for Jabber of Qatar. As I said, I saw him in the training hall earlier on in the week, and he looked absolutely superb. 118 kilos, or just a shade over. And this man is a real athlete, not an ounce of fat on him. And it's really nice to see him competing with men who are weighing over 100 pounds more than him.
But this is a personal best in competition, no matter what he's done in the training hall. It's different on stage, it's different in competition, and he's never done this weight in competition. And he's so light, it means that for anybody to deny him, they're going to have to go to a new world record if he can do it.
Needs to hold on. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's fantastic, David.
Now, I can't... can you see Vardanian going to 207.5 kilos with one lift? That's a 7.5 kilo increase. At this level, it's possible. But there are two men, there are two lifts, and what on earth are they going to do? Because both of the men who've got a lift left are much, much heavier. So Jabber Saeed Salem from Qatar is in a gold medal position. He has to get a medal. He's got a little finger, maybe one hand of two on the gold. But technically he's very good.
Well, Vardanian's taking 205, so he can't go ahead of him.
No. But of course, if these two men, if Vardanian gets 205, he's guaranteed a medal. Skebatis is then pushed down into the bronze medal.
It's the Iranian, the only man with the lift left.
So Vardanian's in bronze medal position, and there's only one man left who can change the order. It's Jabber, Skebatis, Vardanian, Rezazadeh of Iran, Hussein Rezazadeh. He's the man who's left with it, and he's 106 kilos, which is a world record.
But of course, although it's a world record, it only counts as 205 in the competition. So, you know, it's a silver medal on the overall, but the consolation, of course, again, is the world record.
And Iran, who've already got a world champion here in the 85 kilo class earlier this week, Shaheen Nazarinia.
So whatever happens here, David, the man from Qatar, Jabber, has definitely won the gold medal.
But this is for a medal, because Rezazadeh at the moment is in fourth place. So he's got to make this. If he doesn't make it, basically, he gets nothing.
Yes, this for the silver and a new world record.
20 seconds. Oh, he's done it! He has done it. That's a medal for Iran. And the Middle East are dominating the first part of this super heavyweight competition. They're the Iranians. And that's Jabba of Qatar takes the gold from Razazdeh of Iran, and Skerbatis of Latvia, who didn't actually look that convincing when he took his first snatch, has ended up with the bronze medal by virtue of his lighter body weight ahead of Ardanian and Chemerkin, who's down into 5th place. So 5 kilos separate the top 5 at the end of the first half of the competition. What a competition we have now on here. And it means that Chemerkin's going to have to work really hard in the second part, the clean and jerk. Well, surprise for me, surprise for you?
Well, yes and no. As I say, I've been watching that guy in training. He's looked good all week.
So, Jabba takes the gold. Stay with us here on Eurosport. When we come back, highlights of the 85 kilo category.